Hello everyone, my name is Koushan Mohammadi. I am a PhD candidate at University of Connecticut and I'm working under supervision of Dr. and Professor Koushan. Today I want to talk to you about our results about using soil moisture as a key variable in an impact-based approach for agricultural drought monitoring. So agricultural drought are mostly happen because of soil moisture deficit, which has and then therefore, soil moisture can be used as a direct indicator of agricultural drought. So, available water for plants has a direct indicator of how vegetation works. So when available water for the plants reach to a certain level, which can be different for each type of plants, that's the time that plants feel that water stress condition. So first, it is a vegetation physiology that feel that stress and then react in some conductance and then reduce the and then it can to reduce to vegetation photosynthesis activity. And so with all of them case, we can know that the soil moisture approach can be central for an impact-based drought monitoring. And an impact-based drought monitoring is also very essential for studying the events with rapid onset and intensification, like flash droughts, which they have very devastating impact on agricultural regions. So due to climate change, some of the features of the drought has changed, like the intensity and frequency and how rapidly they develop. The 2012 US drought is one of those events with rapid onsets, which had major impact on agricultural reasons and has devastating and really take stakeholders off guard. You can see this picture from Dr. Jeff Barasov in Oklahoma University, that in very small times, a significant change happened on the field. And it is very important because those agricultural regions are very prone to the flash droughts, is probably because of the shallow root zone and high evapotranspiration rate during this dry time. That make them very susceptible to the drought regions, to the drought and flash drought conditions. And also another problem with the flash drought, as I said, that because it's takes stakeholders off guard, is really provide very little time for farmers to have a preparation plan and change their strategies. So here, the objective that we want to present is to develop and assess an impact-based framework for agricultural drought monitoring and investigate the uncertainties that can happen with using different data sets by looking at the spatial pattern and temporal variability across the regions. So to account for the impact, we use the soil water deficit index, which is based on soil moisture and soil properties like field capacity and the wilting point. And because of these features, it doesn't really need long term of data, and it doesn't really impact by the non-stationarity that can happen using those use the long term data. It has like four categories. -5, for example, means that it's only half of that potential available water for plants is actually available. And -10, it means that the soil moisture reached to the wilting point and actually no water is available for the plants. So how we use this to detect the flash drought is to the stability I should goes down by 2 points and reach below -5, which we use as a threshold for when plants feel that stress condition in short amount of time, less than 30 days. And it should remain under that threshold for at least 15 days or longer so we can exclude those dry conditions that can happen. To identify if those detected events by the stability events can be verified by another approaches. We also developed two other approaches. One is based on USTM, so it is same category. There was two categories in short amount of time and should be remain until the moderate condition D1 that we use here for the plants to fill that stress condition for 14 days or longer. But another aspect is we want to see if the detected events do they have any impactful environmental impactful events. So we use solar induced photosynthesis as an indicator of vegetation's photosynthesis. And if it reaches to a certain threshold, one standard deviation of 15% of the mean, then it is our clue that there is some environmental stress happen, and the vegetation photosynthesis has dropped significantly after the events. And that's become our clue that some impactful event has actually happened. So these are the three data sets that we use, RFI, Blank, Urim, and GLADAS for developing the stability eye and look at the osmolality and also CC for the SIF data set. So how we did this comparison is when our approach, the stability IFD, detect that events at that grid cell and at time steps. We look at that time and see if the vegetation's function are above a certain level, because our hypothesis was that when drought signals happen, but there is no vegetation's activity or there is no during the growing season, so it's probably not going to be an impactful event. Especially for our case that we are looking at agricultural droughts. And when that happens, we look at like 1 degree radius around that green cell and also 60 days around the time scale to see if another approaches could validate the events or the signal that we detected based on soil moisture approach. So the first, we look at the uncertainties, and we saw that all the products, stability I developed based on all products, they have almost same temporal variability across the 5 regions and the 5 flash droughts, 3 regions and 5 flash droughts that we looked at. And the only difference is, for example, for an alpine land that has a more robust variability, and this is probably because the difference that they have in their field capacity and building point, the difference is smaller. So some small changes, even soil moisture, can result to more rapid changes or more rapid variability in the alpine land. Looking at the spatial distribution, these are the number of flash droughts detected based on each one of these data sets for during the landing years, the ABC signals, and we saw that the spatial pattern, they are mostly consistent in the central US. However, there are some differences in the northeast and southeast. For example, the RFI and the NOAA they have more in the southeast. That's why that it gave us idea to, instead of, for example, choosing one of these data set and then develop our methodology, we kind of merge them. So we calculate the stability based on each of these different data set and then average them out, and then use the final product for developing an impact-based approach monitoring metrics, which we saw that the coverage based off the merged data set on the D has very good coverage, kind of covered all of these three data sets. So using the merged stability data set, we look at those 5 flash droughts over 3 locations with different vegetation coverage. In winters, it's croplands; in northern plains, mostly grassland, and over southeast, it was mostly the forest. And we could see that the temporal variability of the stability eye and temporal variability of USCM are mostly consistent. Even the stability eye, sometimes it start at decreasing trend sooner than USCM. And also comparing to the SIF, which again, the SIF is based on solar induced photosynthesis, which is proxy of vegetation photosynthesis, and we saw that the negative values of the SIF anomalies always come after reaching the stability I to the negative values. And we kind of also we can see that the SIF anomaly can be positive during when that soil moisture and stability start that decreasing trend, because most of a lot of time flash drought happen after very warm spring. And during that warm spring, the vegetation's activity reached the top, and the activity on their height, which eventually also reached to faster soil moisture depletion during the summer. And that's, you can see the impact that when we can, after the soil moisture reached that point, we can see that negative soil moisture vegetation photosynthesis anomaly, which is an impact of the reduce of soil moisture. Comparing the events based on stability I and events based on USCM, we saw that almost all of the flash drought events detected based on the USCM approach, they were also detected and were confirmed by the stability I-based events. However, not all the events detected by stability I were also confirmed by the USCM approach, especially, for example, at the western part of the US. Also, if you look at the northeast, there were some events that they were detected by the USDM, but they were not shown by stability I, which this is also a part that choosing the thresholds for the stability I, and the threshold that water plants can feel that water stress conditions become important, because at those regions, the soil moisture is higher, and it's probably, it didn't either reach to that half of potential available water for plants, or it didn't reach fast. That's why we didn't have the events based on the stability I. And then we gave this idea to see, okay, there are many signals that they weren't confirmed by USDM. So were there any impactful events, or were there just the false alarm? And we saw that looking at the left panel, so we saw that no, they were all impactful events. They were all followed by substantial negative vegetation photosynthesis anomaly after the time that events were detected. So all of the things that we detected by the soil moisture approach, they were impactful approach, and they were all flash droughts for the left panel. Looking at the right one, then we look at this the CFD signals, which is the signals for environmental stress conditions happen. We saw that not all of them happened because of the stability I, and which was rational, because not all of those events that can lead to the vegetation photosynthesis decrease, it can happen by flash, it can happen by regular droughts or floods or wildfire or anything that can reduce the vegetation photosynthesis significantly. So, and the conclusion was that the soil moisture-based events approach that we got, they had differences in the spatial pattern and maybe need for adaptive and interrogated approaches. And we also demonstrated that even that there are some spatial differences between different data sets, by using the merged data set could give us the impactful events, and even some of those impactful events that couldn't be detected by, for example, USDA data set in the Northwest. So thank you for your attention. All of these figures that I showed you, they are in our recent paper, and I think that published in the press. Thank you very much.